Hey there, everybody. So this video is going to show you how to make a key tag kind of like this one in Onshape. This key tag will be one that you can get printed out and sent to me. So this is going to be a cool opportunity for you to get something and get your hands on it and just see what happens if you 3D print something. There is no right or wrong for this. If your goal should just be to get something printed so that you can hold it in your hand, even if you don't like it. Do it anyways, and then if you don't want to keep it because you really don't like it, that's totally fine. But it can be really awesome if you strive to make something that you're going to want to keep. So this is a set of plans that can work really well for you. This is just some suggestions. You don't have to put the words test on it. You don't have to have a little picture of a hawk over here if you don't want to. This is really just the goal of this is to make something that you can have 3D printed. And this is a cool, small little thing that's easy to do, and it'll be fun for you to work on. So I'm going to kind of operate as if you haven't done this before at all, that you haven't even extruded anything. I know that we did an activity about that, but this should work for anybody who wants to work on this. If you feel like you know some of the stuff, you can skip ahead with the arrow keys on the keyboard. I don't need to teach y'all how to use YouTube. You already know how to do that. So we can make a new document. I'm going to turn on my mouse clicks here so that you can see what I'm clicking on. So if I click somewhere, it makes a little gray circle. So I'm going to go to create. I'm going to make a new document. I'm going to call this Keytag. I'm calling it demo because it is a demo, and I have a lot of Keytag demos saved in my documents, and then you can hit enter or click the blue button there. So as you might remember from the Onshape exercise, the Onshape intro activity, the playing around an Onshape assignment, if you did that. If you're looking at this video another time, you might not have done that. To make a closed shape, we have to make a sketch. So I'll click the sketch button. We have to select a sketch plane. I'm going to pick the top plane near the edge when it lights up and turns orange. And then we're going to draw a shape. Now, this time we're going to be using some dimension tools. So you'll see how that works. I like to use the corner rectangle, which you may have to click this little drop down and pick corner rectangle. This lets you pick the first corner and the last corner of a rectangle. So I just clicked on that. I'm going to start it on this middle origin point. So I'll start it there and I'll make it come out to here. And look, I didn't care about the size yet. We're going to come back and look at the sizing later. So now is when we're going to look at the size. So I'm going to say, all right, I want this to be 50 wide by 20 tall. So to do that, I can click the dimension tool. If you can't find this tool, you can push D on your keyboard like it says in parentheses, and it'll turn it on and off. So I'm pushing D over and over. Or you can click on it to turn it on and off that way. Or you can even go and search here and search dimension. DI usually gets it, and that'll turn it on and off. DI, enter. And that'll find it for you. And then to use the dimension tool, and you're going to use this all the time in here, you click once on a line, and then you move the mouse away and you click a second time. So that could be 2 clicks, and the second time we'll stamp the number down. And we said this is going to be 50 wide, so I'm going to type 50 and you can put millimeters afterwards, or if you're already in millimeters, you can just hit enter. You'll usually know what units you're in if you go up here to the hamburger and you click workspace units, and it should say millimeters here. If not, you can change it to that and then click the check mark. So I left the sketch when I did that, so I had to double click to go back into it. So I'm going to dimension the top part, and I'll show you guys a different way to do this now. So you could click on the line, or you can click on the start and the end of the line. So that was a click on the start, a click on the end, and then a third click to stamp it down. So you can either click on a whole line, or you can click on the 2 ends and then another spot to stamp it down. So we're going to make it 20 tall. So that is meeting my size here. Yep, perfect. And then I'm going to click the check mark to accept that. Then I'm going to use the Extrude tool. So if you did the playing around an Onshape activity or some other intro activity, you should know how to do this already. I'll click on that. I'm going to click on the shape. It's going to extrude. Let's check our plan over here to see 3 millimeters up. So I can go over here and type 3 mm, enter, and then click the check mark. So if you have any questions on any of this stuff, ask for help, of course. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create another sketch on top of this to create the lettering or whatever shape you want to make. You don't have to do letters. You don't have to do a shape. You can do one or the other. It doesn't matter to me. So I'm going to click sketch. I'm going to hover until the top of this lights up, and I'm going to click again, click, and then I can start drawing, and you're going to see it's going to draw on top of this face. So if I wanted to do like my initials, maybe let's look straight down. I'm going to click on the top of the view cube here. If I wanted to do my initials, mine are DRO, Douglas Richard Osgood. I can click. I could go like this. I could come over here. If you want to switch to doing an arc, you can go up here and grab the arc tool. Sometimes the arc can be frustrating, so you have to play around with different things, but we could go like this, and then you click again to place that middle point. So you just play around with these tools. Like I said, the whole goal of this is to play around, see what you can do. So that's going to create a D, but it doesn't have an inside and an outside line, so we have to add one. What we can do, I'm going to turn off my line tool. I can get in here, I can adjust these. Maybe I want to make it so this lines up with that. So I went up and I hovered over it, and I'm going to bring it down like that. Maybe I want it to be like sticking straight out so it lines up with this. Ooh, look at that. That looks really nice. Yeah. Now things are centered. So to create the inside part of this, I can go up here and use offset. So I'll click on that. And this lets me pick a bunch of lines, and it's going to offset them a certain distance away. Now we're not seeing lines, so I'm going to drag this arrow slowly until it gets a little closer. And now I can start to see a measurement appearing here, a dimension, 1.1 millimeters. Let's check that plan for a second. Oh, I don't give a size for the size of this. So I would just say do it until it looks about right. I got too many tabs open here, people. There we go. You can drag that until it looks about right. If you don't want to try to drag it till it's perfect, just click over here in empty space, and it'll automatically let you start typing that number. Let's make it 1 millimeter. That seems good. And then I can go through here, and I can do that for all the other letters. So let's do an R. Actually, let's do this. So you might have noticed you can hover over these dots to start things so that they line up. If you go like this, it'll snap with a yellow dotted line so that it lines up with other things around it. So let's go like this. I'm just going to draw the outline of the R this time. So we'll go out here. Let's go like this maybe, and then we'll come up. Oh, we can't get, oh, there we go. They're going parallel to one another. Maybe I want to I want to turn this off and pick up the arc tool to do this part here. Like I did before, move that around till it looks right. All right, and then we could use that offset tool again. And we could click on this, and we can drag this in like that. And click somewhere else to set that distance. Let's make it 1. So if things don't look quite right like the way you want them to, you can go in here and you can fill in the blanks. You can even use, if I snap this onto there, if you want to get rid of this little dangly line here, you can use the scissor trim tool, and that lets you click on lines to trim them away. So there's tons and tons of ways that you can manipulate these lines. Like I said, I want you all to just play around with this. Maybe for the O, I'll do an ellipse. So this lets you pick 2 points like that, a center point, a wider spot, and then a less wide spot here. And then I could even do another ellipse inside of that, or I could use that offset. I'm going to use the offset tool again. I hit escape to cancel that command. So we go here. Let's drag that arrow to get it going towards the inside. We don't want it to be too big, or it'll give us an error like that. It doesn't always like that. Let's click somewhere else. Let's make that 1. Cool. I don't really like the shape of this. So let's see. Can I drag it? Yes, I can drag it to change the size of it. Let's maybe make it a little more smushed this way. I can drag it by its center point. If you wanted all these to line up, what you could do is you could click the line tool and click the construction button. And this will give you a dotted line, which I'm hovering over that point so that it's going to line up with the middle of that. I could draw a straight line across here, get it so it snaps so it's perfectly horizontal. Click a second time for that line. And now let's turn off my line tool and my construction tool. I can drag this O so that it sticks onto that spot. And I can do some things like that. Like maybe I want to drag this R so that that sticks on there and so that this sticks on there. And then maybe I don't like how close that is, so I want to adjust that. And you can totally just play around with this until everything looks right. And if you wanted to dimension other things, like maybe I want to make the distance from here to here 1 millimeter. Okay, oop, that made things look weird. Maybe I want the distance from here to here to be 1 millimeter. You got to be careful if you put too many dimensions, it can cause problems. Maybe I want the distance from here to here to be 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter. The only way you're going to find out if things work here to here, 1 millimeter, is to try it and see. You can always hit undo. Ooh, that changed the angle. All right, let's roll with it. That looks pretty good. Check mark. Okay, I spent a long time on that sketch, so hopefully you skipped it if you didn't need it all. I'm going to do extrude. I'm going to hover around until each of these shapes lights up. Just the middle. If you do the outside, watch this. It's going to mess everything up. That's not what we want. So you can click the X up here for the last thing you picked, or you can unpick it by clicking a second time. We'll click there. Cool. We could stretch these down. We could type a number in. I think the distance, I have them popping up in the drawing on the other page here, is 1 millimeter. Yep, 1 millimeter. Click the check mark. And then you can add a hole by sketching again on top of this, drawing yourself a circle. I give you some dimensions for that hole. Where'd it go? 5 millimeters from one side, 5 millimeters from the top with a 5 millimeter diameter. So let's use the dimension tool. We'll go click on this point and the middle of the circle, 5 millimeters. Let's click on this side and the middle of the circle. Click again to place the dimension, 5 millimeters. Let's click on the circle outside. Click again, 5 millimeters. Set the size, check mark, extrude. And this time we'll click on it and we'll do remove. And it'll remove that circle there. Click the check mark. What we could have done too was, while we were working on that, we could have changed this to through all so that it just automatically went through everything. And the last thing to really make this look nice would be to fillet the corners. So I'll click this, and this lets you click on edges that you want to sort of round off like you're sanding them away. So we'll click on the 4 sides. And you can drag this little arrow to change the size. Maybe you want it more extreme. If you go too far, it crashes and it turns red and it doesn't work anymore. Or you can just type a number in here. Like we could do 5. I think over here I have it set to, yeah, 5 right there is the radius of that. So we'll put 5, check mark. And that's pretty much it for your key tag. If you're done with this and you're ready to share it with me, you can go up to the share button up here. And you would type my email address in here where it says individuals. It's already shared with me because I am me, but you would type dosgood@cppasd.com or dosgood@cppmail.com. Both of those will go to me. And then tell me, make sure you tell me out loud, hey, Osgood, I need that printed so I can write your name down and I know to print it. Okay? And you would click the share button when you were done. It's not going to let me do it because that's me. Right? I cannot share it with myself. So, but it'll work for you. Any other things you want to do to this, feel free. You can always go back and edit these by double clicking on any of the sketches. You can change the size of the extrusion by double clicking on the extrude. There's about 1,000,001 ways you can do this. So play around, have a good time, people, and make something cool that you can hold in your hand.